Okay, hello and welcome to a rather special, I think, MacTrains, because today I have a number of refreshed products of my own to talk about. Hope you enjoy it. As some of you already know, I provide a few 3D prints for TT120, and this started simply enough. It started because I got a 7-plank wagon and I wanted some coal to go in it, and I'd recently been given a 3D printer, so I thought, here's something to test it out. And I produced a coal load, stuck it in, and thought, looks all right, if I say so myself. And maybe others would like it too, so I stuck some up on eBay, and so it began. And they sold reasonably well, and then I thought, I would like an easier way to uncouple things in TT120 land. I'm still using the traditional Tillig style couplers, so I designed a little uncoupling hook and did them first of all in black, and that wasn't quite so good because I couldn't see where it was because it merged into the coupling. So I designed them in white instead and printed them in white rather, and they work great. So they're also on sale. They're also up on eBay. I think they're £2 for two or something like that. So in fact, they've been one of my best sellers, believe it or not, these little uncouplers. Anyway, it's more than time to refresh my offerings, I think. So I've been beavering away behind the scenes, redesigning the coal loads for the 7-plank Hornby and Pico wagons and the 21-ton mineral wagons. And you see, it got into my head that all these coal loads are the same. All the coal loads on my layout now look identical. And I was aware that therefore those who've been kind enough to buy from me and hopefully enjoy the product, but they've also got identical coal loads, which at this scale, let's face it, it's not a catastrophe. Most of the time you won't notice, but once you know, it kind of went and worked away on me a wee bit. So I've totally reworked the coal loads. I've got now 9 unique designs for the 21-ton and the 7-planks. It's really the same design, just made to fit each one, but effectively 9 different designs for 21 and also 9 different designs for the 7-planks. So sometimes the differences are quite subtle between them actually, but no two are identical. Sometimes it's more obvious. The coal is also much chunkier, less slab-like, more boulder-like, I suppose, but not overly so. And it's printed in black resin on a brand new resin printer, so they do look very sharp. In fact, I would say that they look far better in reality than they do even in the photos that you'll see somewhere here or here or here, or I don't know where it is now, but you'll see the photos at the same time as this, hopefully. So it looks really, really crisp, if I say so myself. These are going straight up for sale. I've kept the same price as before. That is £5 for a 3-pack. And in that 3-pack, there'll be 3 separate designs. If you order 3 3-packs together, that makes sense? Yeah. So you will get a complete set of 9 different coal loads. If you order them at various times, I understand that, but I can't guarantee. Each one will have 3 different ones from each other, but I can't guarantee that the all 9 you get. It'll just be a randomized thing at that point because it's too much effort to keep track of who's got what exactly. So that's up for sale. That'll be on eBay by the time hopefully this goes live. 3 sets of coal loads for £5 for 21-ton, 3 sets for the 7-planks, and 9 variations in total. I've also, and some of you saw this before, I've also 3D printed what's called a corrugator, which is scaled for TT120 and allows me to produce sheets of metal corrugated iron effect. It's tinfoil, it's kitchen tinfoil. But this works for roofs, obviously, it works for fencing and so on. These will be available in packs of 10, but each sheet will be a small strip. I'm guessing about 4 centimeters by 2 just now, but there'll be 10 a pack. and their uses are really quite limitless. I think actually there's lots of stuff. The more I think about it, the more options there are what to do. Even stack them up and put them in a wee pallet beside an office or a shed or in a wagon. So these are going to be just £4 for 10. And if you'd rather the same sort of area sheetage, but in a single or a larger sheet, then I can try and accommodate that. It's a bit tricky to get it exactly to feed in right to the corrugator, but can try and do larger sheets if that's preferable. So have a think about that. And then I've adjusted what was the PLA, the plastic print for the hoppers, and that's now produced in resin as well. Again, the same black resin with the super sharp printing, and I've adjusted the detail considerably, so these look much more realistic as well. They're not now, I must say, the hoppers are not multiple different variations. They're all identical, but they do look better than they did. So again, £5 for 3 of these. Tarpaulin covers, they're really the same, except again, they're resin printed, they're unpainted, they fit snugly onto a 7-plank wagon. You'll see that just here, just now. And they can really set off a rake of wagons quite nicely. They're unique, so you could have a set of wagons, 7-plankers, maybe, let's say, I was getting on to, well, what would that be? 13, maybe? That'd be quite a good rake, wouldn't it? And you've got 9 different coal loads, and you've got 4 different tarpaulin covers, and that looks pretty impressive. And you can paint them to your own style thereafter. So they're a bit more of a specialised print, so they take £8 for 4 of the tarpaulin covers. I'd also still do the loading gauges and back-to-back gauges. That's just done in white PLA. They're also £2 for 2, pack of 2. The loading gauges are identical. The back-to-backs are very slightly varied. One slightly smaller, one slightly wider, to allow you a bit of scope on what you're doing. And there's the 7-plank timber loads as well. I forgot about them. So they're still up. They're £6 for 3. They're also a little bit more involved because I do add a tiny bit of thread glued in place as if it's a tie-down rope in the timbers. So there's station signs also in resin. They're personalised. You can ask for the name of your layout or your station particularly, and I'll get that done. And so you'll get a personalised station sign. You get 2 of them for £4. They're very small. The price there is not the material, it's my time to actually personalise each one. So they're not hopefully too expensive, but they are what they are. So that's what I've got just now. So it's been a fairly substantial refresh of the MacTrains range. There's something else I think I forgot to say in there somewhere, but that's largely what we do. Now, what's next? Well, amongst other things, vehicles hopefully are coming to MacTrains, but these are not, full disclaimer, these are not my designs. I wouldn't be able to produce anything like the quality of these designs, but I have been kind of gathering and collecting CAD files from various online repositories, which are Creative Commons licensed. So some of them of the Creative Commons licensing require an attribution, which means that you can use them, you can even sell them, as long as you attribute the designer, which is what I intend to do. To make them, I've scaled them down to TT120 size. Apart from that, they're not my designs. And I'm grateful to those clever folk who produce these designs and then make their stuff available. I think that's tremendous. So these will be produced hopefully at a very reasonable cost for vehicles. Vehicles can be quite pricey, I think, to try and get a fleet on a reasonable size layout soon gets very expensive. So I thought there was a way of trying to do it cheaper, and this is a way I can do that and provide that for you TT120 fans. What I've got so far, I've got an Audi 80 and an A4, one of the early A4s, Citroen 2CV, because why wouldn't you, and a Xantia, those from the 90s might remember these cars, Ford Transit vans, Ford Mondeos, Peugeot 205s, even a Hillman Imp in there if I remember right. So there's a reasonable range. Again, that should be beside me here just now. get a quick view of what's available. I'm still gathering, so that's not quite ready for prime time yet. These again are unpainted. You're going to need to be able to paint better than I can, and have some reasonable fidelity to make them look decent. Probably the easiest thing to do is give it an overall colour and then just blacken in the wheels and so on as you need to. Anyway, hopefully vehicle collections will be out soon from MacTrains. Let me know if that's of interest to you. If you find that would be helpful, put that in the comments, because the more interest I have, the more I can gauge whether this is worth pursuing or not. I'm also then mucking around, I suppose is a fair thing to say, with a bogie of a class 66. So the bogie has the 3 axles wheels, it's got the gearing, it's got a gearbox, and it's got the top, which would ordinarily take the cardan shaft then from the motor centrally mounted. I've taken off the cardan shaft, taken off the cup that would hold the cardan shaft, used the gear puller that some of you might have seen in the post. So the gear puller was used to remove the wattom, brass wattom from the short drive shaft. Got a motor set from This Way Works, removed his plastic wattom, stuck on the brass one, and I'm going to try and make that as a self-driving little bogie on which I want to fit the 3D printed body of a class 04. So I've got one, you should again see that here somewhere. Yep. And that's just a little project. I would like even to make it HM7000 if I can solder in the harness for a 6-pin. And I've got the harness for a 6-pin simply because I had butchered my class 08. Some of you may remember that quite a while back, to fit in a 8-pin HM7000. So I've got the harness, and if the chips come out, I don't see right now why that shouldn't work. But let's just say it's a work in progress. That's going to take a while. I've also used the class 08 with the side skirts and the kind of cow catch at the front in order to hide the fact that the bogie underneath is a 66 bogie that doesn't have any con rods. So that allows me to mimic it, I think, a little bit better. Oh, also, this is early, but I am investigating into a slightly different, there's lots of fantastic coupling systems out there, magnetic coupling systems, and that's intrigued me. So I'm investigating doing that, but there's no point in repeating what's out there. That's of no interest, and of no benefit, more to the point. So I have an idea in my head to make it slightly different. If I can get really good strong magnets, that might make a slight improvement. And it would be slight, but a slight improvement over the current magnetic designs that are out there. So all in all, great fun for me, but simply far too many ideas battling around in my head that may never see the light of day, and no time to do any of them, or sorry, to develop them properly. But I hope you found it interesting to get an idea of what I do. The 3D printing stuff is very simple. It's done in order to fund the hobby. Rather than eat into family budget, I do this, I get some money in, what comes in, I put back out on more 3D printing materials, and what's left over gets put into buying stuff for TT120. That's really roughly how it works, and a little bit extra some is for some household expenses that come in. But these prints, they go up periodically onto eBay. Many of you have purchased from there already. Thank you so much for doing that if you do. eBay seems to be making it more and more difficult for small scale sellers. I don't know what they're up to sometimes, but they've slapped on this ridiculous buyer protection fee, which is their insurance that they keep if there's no issue, which I don't really understand. But it means that if I put something up for £2, they're going to charge you £2.40 for it and keep the 40 pence themselves as a buyer protection fee. They also have a crazy system just now for postage where you have very little option. So sometimes I'm putting stuff out that really is costing me £1.55 to post, and eBay are charging you £2.30 and they keep the money. So I don't always have much flexibility over that, so apologies for that. It is very frustrating. If someone knows a better way of dealing with this, then I'll be happy to hear from you. So, rant over. You are, of course, welcome, I should say, to place orders directly using the channel email address at any time, which is gmactrains@gmail.com. gmactrains@gmail.com. Yes, so that'll avoid eBay's surcharge and their insane postage costs. But I entirely understand some folk much prefer using eBay. They're comfortable using it. Absolutely. There'll still be stuff go up on eBay. And even if you don't see what you want on eBay, if you drop an email to the channel and you'd rather do it through eBay, I'll post it to eBay and make sure you get the link and you can buy from there direct. So lots of options. I hope you found it interesting. More to come. Do keep watching. Like, share, subscribe, and do all the usual stuff. Comment down below, especially. And thanks for your time. Hopefully we'll see you soon.